Water.
And g'day viewers, I'm Michael.
And I'm Janet, and welcome to this week's episode where we will talk about how nothing is so bad that it couldn't be worse, from the knowledge of Wayne Trethowin.
And this is where we challenge you to see the potential of the silver lining in most situations.
So to tune in and discover how this mindset can help you build resilience, overcome adversity, and lead to a much more fulfilling life, listen up. Water.
And g'day viewers, I'm Michael.
And I'm Janet, and welcome to this week's episode where we will be talking about how nothing is so bad that it couldn't be worse. Where we challenge you to see the potential of a silver lining in most situations. We say most situations because, as we all know, there are things in life that are rock bottom. The death of a loved one, the illness of a loved one, breakups of relationships or family, sufferers of severe mental, physical or emotional illness, conditions of poverty and hardship, etc. That's not what we're addressing today. Today, we will take a saying that a dear friend of ours, Wayne Trethowin, coined.
Well, also known as Poozy Bear.
Which serves as the great leveller and perspective shifter in nearly all situations. And that is...
Nothing is so bad that it couldn't be worse. So this phrase encapsulates a perspective that emphasises resilience, optimism, and the recognition that even in challenging situations, there is always potential for things to worsen. Now, while it might seem counterintuitive at first, this perspective can be a source of strength and inspiration when you're facing adversity. Let's face it, things in life go awry every day. From a shit night's sleep to no hot water, poor traffic conditions or a red light or speeding fine, a boss or a colleague you can't stand and yet you're trapped with them for 40 hours a week.
Or home life, when a toddler has you running ragged 24/7, or a screaming baby, or a teenager who hasn't spoken a word to you in weeks except for the odd grunt. We all know the drill.
What's his name? Roy Kent style.
Indeed. We all know the drill. Everyday things that can cause you to feel at the end of your tether, like you want to stop the world and get off. Our friend Wayne had a habit of using this line in situations that at the time felt dire, but as soon as he said that magic sentence, you couldn't help but smile and in turn laugh. When you considered all the disastrous things that could happen that would be so much worse.
Poor sales results this month, a vendor who's gone a bit crazy, a deal that fell over when you thought it was a sure thing, a presentation when you got so tongue-tied you sounded like you were speaking a foreign language, or sometimes you got so nervous that you shook like an earthquake had hit the building.
Saying the magic words resets your perspective and reframes the level of angst around the problem. Really understanding that nothing is so bad that it couldn't be worse can inspire gratitude and contentment in our lives.
It prompts us to appreciate the positive aspects and blessings that we often take for granted. And by focusing on the potential for things to worsen, we're reminded of the fragility and impermanence of certain circumstances, which prompts us to cherish and make the most of what we have. But of course, it's essential to approach this perspective with a balanced mindset. While recognising that things could be worse can be a source of motivation and gratitude, it's also important to acknowledge and validate our own emotions and experiences. Each individual's struggles and challenges are unique, and it's crucial to allow ourselves space to process and address our feelings without dismissing them. So I remember years before I heard Poozy come up with the line, nothing's so bad that it couldn't get worse. I was also exposed to another method of diffusing the initial reaction when faced with something bad. And it was similar, simply asking the question, is this the worst thing that could happen? And in the same way, this helps you take stock and get some perspective, as in most cases you'll be able to find several other circumstances which could be a lot worse. And it can be really helpful to get a pen and paper out and write down the problem and then ask yourself, what would be worse than this? And then write it down. And then ask yourself, what else would be worse? and then keep asking that question and keep writing them down. And then all of a sudden you'll find that you come up with more than you thought would initially have thought of. And then you really get the problem into perspective and can take the initial emotion out of it when you realise that there are many, many more worse things that could possibly happen. And it's funny, you know, remember when we were talking about my mum who used to worry about things that never happened?
She did. Yeah.
She was really good at this, though, because she could always find things that could possibly be worse.
And that was a fantastic thing. But this whole reflection and using this statement, nothing's so bad that it couldn't be worse. It's a new gag reflex we're introducing you to. It's called get a grip. So when you really nut out a problem and have a look at the other side of that problem and how much worse it could be, you'll get a grip that it's not that bad. And also quite often the scenarios around the problems we have are imagined.
Yeah, they are.
It's important to stop and ask yourself a couple of questions. The first one being, is this 100% true? Pause and then drill into that. You'll find there's a degree of fallibility in everything. As the old saying by mathematician John Allen Paulos, the only certainty is uncertainty, and knowing how to live with insecurity is the only security. The other phrase about the only certainty in life being death and taxes is only a half-truth, as there are plenty of people, I know a few, who can avoid taxes, but we are yet to find an immortal. So yet. So death is really the only certainty in this life. The second thing to do with the scenarios when you've got problems that are imagined is put some distance between yourself and the situation by using this method. Instead of asking, how do I feel about this? Ask yourself using your name. For example, how does Janet feel about this? This helps you to look at the situation objectively because you were once removed. Think of it as having your higher self ask your human self. We encourage you, when you find yourself in a tricky or difficult situation, to this 3-step solution. Number 1 is to say the magic statement, nothing so bad that it couldn't be worse. Number 2 is take a deep breath or a few. This action engages your vagus nerve and helps you relax the fight-flight reflex of panic. Your fantastic vagus nerve is an essential part of your parasympathetic nervous system. It calms and balances your nervous system, regulates critical bodily functions, including your heart rate, your blood pressure, digestion, perspiration, and even controls your voice. Number 3 is tap into calming down. Tapping or EFT is a quick, effective way to stimulate your vagus nerve. It can be done anywhere at any time. Feel free to go to our website, which is www.chrysalisgroup.com.au, and in the free stuff, you'll find a vid for anxiety and panic. The results you'll experience are incredible and instantaneous. Try this solution next time you come up against a challenge and watch it diminish.
Get on it. So in summary, the mantra, Poosie's mantra, nothing is so bad that it couldn't be worse, encourages us to maintain perspective, cultivate resilience, and find gratitude in our lives.
It reminds us that challenges are a vital part of the human experience, but they also offer opportunities for growth and transformation.
By embracing this perspective, we can approach life's difficulties with a renewed sense of determination and optimism.
Until next time, love and blessings.
See ya.